What's up, everybody? It is Dennis and Andy, the DNA show with your Friday movie review. Uh, this week, last night, we went and saw Maxxxine. That is what I just found out, the, the third part of a trilogy that started with, well, I'll let Dennis fill you in on all that, because he actually saw the first two parts. I did not. So yeah, we saw Maxxxine, and
Yeah,
what
it's
we
a
got
little
there.
later. It's a little later than what we wanted to, but there's been so many good movies. Long Legs kind of took precedence, and it was probably the right choice. Maxine is the third part, as Andy was saying, in the trilogy. X came out first, which takes place in 1979, and Pearl is a prequel, which takes place back in 1918. And this one, of course, Maxine, 6 years later from X, and takes place in 1985, where this encompasses the 1980s Hollywood. She's an adult film star. She's realizing that her body can't maintain being an adult film star, so she wants to make a break into actually being Hollywood, full blown Hollywood, getting her big break. But a mysterious killer stalks poor Maxine as a trail of blood threatens to reveal her sinister past, which would be what happened in the movie X. Now, do you need to have seen X? The answer is not really. Like Andy will probably attest to,
I'm going to say no, flat out.
yeah,
I didn't feel like I missed anything because they threw in some flashback stuff, which kind of filled you in enough on X. So, from a guy that didn't see it, and I'll be honest, I don't really have a big interest in seeing it now, going back and watching it after seeing this. So,
yeah, no, you do. It's actually a better movie.
oh, okay. So then I
Yeah.
might.
So my favorite in order before we delve into Maxine, X was a really good movie, and it really sets the scene for this. So you don't need to have seen it, but if you did, so many little pieces fill in, and it's just really nice. But X was just a really good movie. Pearl was a completely different movie with a different flavor, bright cinematic 50s color, and it really delves in to an entirely different type. They're all considered horror movies, which I don't know if I necessarily would consider it, but this is more of a crime horror movie. But Pearl was great on its own for what it was. This also is got a slightly different take on it. So all three movies, while they're a trilogy, they don't feel like sequels or anything like that.
Yeah, it's more of just this continuing story. Whereas, and like I said, I didn't see Pearl or X, but like Dennis said, usually trilogies and stuff, sometimes they'll have an ending where you're like, oh, I can't wait till the next one. This, from what I'm understanding Dennis saying, and just the feel of this movie, just they all feel like just their own movie where once they're done, you're not like, oh, what happens next? So the cool thing is
Well, let's
the
just say
actress.
spoilers. We will be doing a spoiler section because some of the big stuff we can't help but spoilers. So that'll be at the end. So we will do the spoiler free up front on this one.
Yeah. Some of the cool stuff, the actress that plays Maxine plays Pearl, and Pearl plays the character Maxine in an X, because once again that takes place in 1979, and then she reprises the role in this one. So that actually has me more interested in watching the first two than anything else. Um, I thought I think she's a good actress. I haven't really seen her in anything else, so like I always say, when it's the first time seeing an actor on screen, I really buy into the character, because I don't know if they're just playing an offshoot of themselves or if they're really changing up how they are in real life to dive into this character. So, I mean, I totally bought into it. If I was going to say anything negative, is she's the main character of the movie. You usually want to like the person. I just didn't like her. Not acting wise, the actual character Maxine. There was nothing about her that I really liked. So I guess I didn't really give a shit what happened to her.
Yeah, so with Maxine in this, so her characters again throughout the three movies are completely different. She takes the franchise now, Ty West's franchise, throws it on her shoulder basically, and just moves forward and carries everything about the trilogy. In this movie, she's very jaded and she knows what she wants. The movie starts off with like when she's a young girl, her daddy taking videos of her. She's saying, I want to be a movie star and I won't take anything short. I won't take a laugh that I don't earn. And that's kind of her entire attitude. She wants the big limelight. She wants to be a Hollywood movie star, and she will do anything it takes, period, to accomplish that. With that being said, the backdrop of this is 1985. Lots of references. You're in Hollywood, you're in LA. And the one thing Ty West did is he built a love fest to Hollywood and the 80s that were in here. It was beautifully shot. It was stunning from a 1980s perspective. You weren't just immersed in it, but all the things that you would love to have seen, the Walk of Fame, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, all of the stars, everything about Hollywood Boulevard, it's all there. It was a great job.
Even how almost like New York was, Hollywood back then. Hollywood might have been nice, but LA stuff like that was kind of seedy, and they showed that part of it, and of course this was in the mid 80s when it was all about bad language and record albums and music and movies and stuff. So Maxine, you've seen the trailer. She auditions for this part in a movie. She ends up getting it. The movie is called The Puritan 2. So she's starring in the sequel. And of course, there's all these protesters boycotting at the movie studio and stuff because it's a devil movie and all that. So you have that going on as well. The two detectives that are investigating the murders are Michelle Monaghan and what's the guy's name? I meant to ask you that last night because he's so recognizable. I totally forgot.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember his name.
Don't you have your IMDb up?
Bobby Cannavale.
That's it, Bobby Cannavale. You'd recognize him, just like Michelle Monaghan. It took me halfway through the movie to finally remember her name, but you see her so much. He was fantastic. In fact, this isn't even a spoiler. When the two of them, the two detectives, are like interviewing someone, I didn't think he really put it on thick or anything, but after it's done, after they're done talking to somebody and it's just the two cops, Michelle Monaghan's like, oh, with that performance, we're not going to get anywhere. God. And he said something about wanting to be an actor. And it was just funny. It was almost like an inside joke, I felt, when the couple times. Those two times I definitely laughed because I don't know, like I said, you've seen this guy around a lot. He's been in a ton of stuff. I would never consider him a bad actor, but like I said, I almost took it like it was an inside joke between the two of them because he's never been like a leading man type. You know what I mean? Did you feel that or no?
Nah, it could be. I mean, I just took it as
I loved it.
It's LA. He was an aspiring actor that never panned out, so he became a police officer and he tries to act at everything. They make a number of jokes through it, which is very funny. She hangs out with her best friend Leon, who's played by Moses Sumney. And you get the background. There's a couple of girls that she works with and stuff like that that you meet at the beginning. And her life takes a turn when suddenly this private eye, John, shows up, played by Kevin Bacon. And boy, did they make Kevin Bacon look great in this for this sleazy private dick role that they've got. He was a standout in it, playing the bad guy. If you saw the trailer, you know they really teased up that it was going to be there's a serial killer that's on the loose in LA and at this time, the Night Stalker. So the trailer sets it up like, oh, the Night Stalker has set his sights on her, on Maxxine. But is it the Night Stalker, and how much of the movie does that? We'll talk about that more in the spoiler. But Kevin Bacon is tied in with the person that's coming after him. Yeah, actually, the friend Moses, the two girls that were on there, and then Elizabeth Debicki plays Elizabeth Bender, the producer, and she's the one who takes the chance on Maxxine. Yeah. Love her to death, and
yeah, she's great. What do I know her from? What was it like? Did she have something big?
Guardians of the Galaxy, that from 3, yes.
Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy. She's the gold chick.
Yes, yes. And I knew she was tall because as soon as you saw her, like, oh, she was great. And she's like the most straightforward character. Look, this is a man's world in Hollywood. I am bucking this. I am taking a huge chance on you. You need to straighten up. Whatever's going on in your life, fix it, or I'm recasting right now. Literally, you got through the weekend. So she goes, whatever's going on over here, you need to fix and move on, because if you're not ready, I am moving on to somebody else. And Maxxine does, because she gets her her manager is Teddy Knight.
There you go. I was going to say, we got to talk about him.
He is just one of my favorite actors because he has this presence whenever he's on the screen. He's got a really wonky hairdo. He's her agent, and she finally says, look, okay, are you my legal counsel? Are you my lawyer? And he's like, I am a lawyer for entertainment. And she goes, confidentiality? And he's like, yeah. So apparently they leave the scene alone. We don't know, but we presumably he tells her everything, and she's like, okay, I'll take care of this. And the presence he has on the screen when they're doing it, and we'll talk more about this in the spoiler section, he was another complete standout in this movie.
Oh, he's absolutely phenomenal in everything he does. Yeah, I mean, was it a pivotal role? Not really. It could have been another actor for sure, but this guy, besides obviously starring in some stuff, he makes a lot of bones just doing these small parts in these films. And, you know, when you think about it from an actor standpoint, somebody like him, you know, he probably gets paid really well for these couple days shoots, because what he did is probably a week on set, you know, because they want, you know, it's all budget. They want to get him in and out. So it could have been a week. It could have been 3 days, you know, but
yeah, the movie suddenly takes a twist as, you know, it gets towards the end. Kevin Bacon shows up on set and stuff like that. Things start to go south, and then you realize somebody is after her to kill her. And there are a number of scenes in this movie, and we will be talking about that very shortly, that you just went, oh, I feel that. There were some great moments in this film. The actors were great. I think this was a really good movie until the third act. For me, the third act, it fell apart, and it could have been a great movie instead of just a good movie. But I think we really have to delve into that in the spoiler section.
yeah, I kind of feel that way about the third act too. I'll sum it up with one word. I think it felt rushed.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's grade this puppy and move on. I guess, I don't know. I'll just go. I am giving it a 6.5. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I'm not looking to go see it again. And like I said, well, Dennis said X was better than this, so maybe I will watch X. Um, the one before that from 1918, we'll see. So that's it, 6.5.
All right. I liked it a little bit better than that. I'm giving it a 7.5. Not as good as the first two movies. But like I said, because of the third act, there was so much I loved. I was invested in the storyline through the first two acts. I was invested in all the characters. I really liked it. And then they unexpectedly go a bit cartoony. I'm giving it a 7.5. It's still definitely worth a watch. And the cinematography, the musical score with the synths and everything reminds me of John Carpenter movies from the era. Again, the ambiance was set, and I still say it's worth a watch. The IMDb crowd is giving it a 6.8. So that's about right for where IMDb usually sits from us. And on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics are giving it a 72%. The audience is 77%. So we're in that ballpark.
Oh, there you go. All right, guys, we are going to do the spoiler one now. Thank you guys for joining us. The spoiler section is obviously for only those that want to know the spoilers of Maxxxine. Like, subscribe, and share. Go check out Kor-Drath, The Awakening. Link into the description below. It's our new crowdfund book, and Kor-Drath, Christmas Miracle, the children's book. All right, that's enough time. We're going to do spoilers. I'm going to go with the first painful moment, and then I'll pretty much let you handle the rest of the spoilers. So, they already set up 1985. The Night Stalker's going around killing people. Maxxine's walking home one night. Like I said, LA's pretty seedy at this time. Who the hell knows why, but she decides to take a turn down an alley. I'm assuming it's a shortcut for her to get to the other block, whatever. This guy starts to follow her. She picks up her pace. She turns down this other side of an alley. Oh my God, there's this gate. Oh, it's locked. And you even got the impression that she takes this shortcut a lot because she looked surprised that it was locked.
Yep.
And then, she turns, and at the 50 feet away at the back of or entrance to that part of the alley is this dude. He clicks a switchblade open, and he looks kind of creepy, and he walks up, and she's jiggling with the lock, and she carries a gun with her. They established that early in the movie. And Dennis even said, "You have your gun." And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, she's going to turn around and surprise the guy with it. And that's what she does. So the guy shits his pants, basically, scared. She's like, "Drop it." So he drops his knife. Then she's like, "Get undressed." So he strips naked. And then she's like, "Lay down on the ground, face down." So he does. And then, she goes into this little backstory thing, whatever. Basically, you've seen it in lots of movies. It's all tell this little story as the person that you're subduing is freaking out because they don't know if they don't know if they're gonna get killed or not. And then it's not out of the blue when you hear the story she's telling. We'll leave that. So if you see the movie, you can hear what she's saying. She has shoes on, of course, and she squashes his balls. So he's laid out on the ground and face down, and instead of laying down with his legs together, which I don't know, I mean, he didn't know what was going to happen. His legs are apart, and then laying there like that, you see his balls down below his ass where they would be, and they didn't hold back. It wasn't like show the foot and then cut away and just hear stuff. Oh no, it was show the foot, see the and then when she lifts her foot up, it's a ground level shot of his destroyed testes. And guys, if you've ever seen somebody get kicked hard in the nads and you go, ooh, yeah, you're going to do more than go, ooh, when you see this. We were the only two in the theater, and I think we were both like, oh!
We were both bent over, and I felt that. We were both like, oh my God.
The last time I felt that in a scene in a movie, and this is no joke, was in the first Pet Cemetery. I went to see it with a bunch of buddies at the Kubert School one weekend. And when the old man's walking up the stairs and the kid slices his Achilles heel or tendon with a razor blade or whatever, that was the last time I saw
Yeah.
something in a theater where I was like, oh,
Yeah.
and this was way worse.
This was worse. This was very graphic in it. You felt it. And her buddy Leon gets taken out, and that winds up being a very
Oh,
bloody
yeah.
and
Yeah, this movie doesn't hold back in regards to the graphicness of the violence. So
yeah. So a couple of things that towards the end. So the third act is where this really falls apart. You find out, that Kevin Bacon is a private dick that's been hired by this very powerful movie producer that lives up by the Hollywood sign up in the hills. You have to take a gondola just to get up to the place. It's very secluded. Her friends from the beginning of the movie are killed and branded there.
So
The,
to make it look like it's the Night Stalker.
right. Well, in the movie sets up that there is the Night Stalker and there's these murders. There's also a lot of, anti-satanic things that are going out there. Even the movie they're doing, the Purity, they've got people are doing protests about it. We need God, not the devil. That kind of stuff. So they're interweaving this throughout the entire movie. And I thought they did a pretty good job of that, but you keep thinking it's the Night Stalker. The big reveal is, it really wasn't, because that's why I really wanted to say they set up the beginning of the movie with her father in this home video movie. And again, you know him very briefly from like a thing in X, but he wasn't any of the main characters, anything like that, dealing with it. And that kind of sets it up. Oh, I wonder if it's her dad. And lo and behold, it is her dad. He is a different
Wow.
serial.
Talk about spoilers. Just dump the biggest one right there.
Yep, it's spoiler for a reason. And to me, it was such a huge letdown in the way that they did it, because he wanted everything for his little girl, because he wanted her to be in the limelight, but in the Puritan sense, in literally the pure sense. And he knew she had gone down these wicked ways, so he was going to purify her on TV, recording the whole thing, film crews. He's got acolytes. They're fully armed. The two police officers show up, and all of this just starts really going downhill. So battle scenes. I mean, the he gets shot off screen. The guy police officer, Bobby's character, and then you see her, and she's got like a cross stabbed in her eye as she falls down the Hollywood Hill and stuff like that. And I was just like, man, you kind of jumped the shark in my mind on the ending.
Well, it just went way too quick. I mean, when you see Kevin Bacon, when they introduce him and he's talking to his client who is hunting down or wants Kevin Bacon to find Maxxine, right out of the gate, that's obviously the killer in the movie. But right out of the gate, you also know it's not the Night Stalker, because they're not going to take this movie and go, let's rewrite something that actually happened. So, which wasn't a huge thing. That didn't, bother me that much.
Kevin Bacon's death scene was
Kevin
the
Bacon's
other great
death
one.
scene. I don't want to spoil, but it was great, and it wasn't but it was definitely I don't want to go out that way ever. So yeah, the last third part, they established this dude's mansion before on the hills, and they established, the two other friends of Maxine's that got killed being held, kidnapped and being there. They didn't show them get killed, but they established settings and stuff. So when Maxxine went there, you knew where she was. But they never, ever established this guy, the killer, who is her dad, having like this group of like 15 acolytes. They never established that. They, and like the first women he kills, he brands because he wants people to think it's the Night Stalker.
And it's the pentagram that he basically cow brands into her.
Right. But then for Maxxine, I guess it's because it's his daughter, he decides, oh yeah, this one we're going to record and show to the world. And he's even on camera without like a mask on and stuff. So you're also thinking, if he were actually able to go through with this, he would have to go somewhere to escape because he's showing his face to everybody. Just kind of weird. And yeah, it just wrapped up so fast. And like Dennis said, they chase him up the Hollywood Hills by the Hollywood sign. And, Maxxine hears gunshots. And then you first see that, the dude detective there is shot. And then, Michelle Monaghan's like, you stay here and put pressure on the wound. And she chased after the guy. And then, the cop dies. Maxxine gets up, and off camera, she hears a gunshot and then some scuffling. And Michelle Monaghan comes walking in, stabbed in the eye with a cross, and then goes tumbling down the hill.
Yep.
So it's up to Maxxine to take out the old man. And
the movie was a 1 hour and 43-minute movie. There was nothing after the credits, even though people said there wasn't. And they could have spent another 17 minutes and made this a nice hour and 50 and just gave us 17 minutes more of the ending to try and flesh some stuff out. I agree. I think it felt rushed. And if they had done a better ending, I would super recommend this movie. I said, this is where it fell apart. Again, it was still good. You see her at the end, and she gets her fame, her star, because she killed a serial killer and who wound up being her dad, and that made her a star. So she's involved with the movie. Elizabeth Debicki's character, she was like, look, you've made it. They're going to start doing stuff together, more movies. They have made it, and it's kind of her happy walk off. So if no other movies were going to be made, this would be a fine ending. I wouldn't say a perfect ending, but it would be a fine ending to a really great trilogy. But they did leave it open for another movie. And I just heard through the grapevine that he has a great idea for a fourth movie, so we might be getting another one.
There you go. And you know what you're also going to get, or can get? Kor-Drath, The Awakening, by myself and Dennis there. Dennis is writing, I'm drawing. If you got Kor-Drath, The Reckoning, you haven't backed this one yet, get on it. And if you haven't got Kor-Drath, The Reckoning, the first book, the first featured tier, you can catch up with a second printing with an all-new Bud Root cover and the main cover for book 2. Guys, Kor-Drath and Adriana are back. Vordoom, the big bad, was introduced in the previous book. He takes a bigger part in this one. The Necronite, Lilith, they're back. They form an undead army to try and take over the Black Eagles tribe that Adriana belongs to. Big battles ensue. More backstory delving into what is going on with these ancient artifacts that Kor-Drath and Vordoom are both after. More tales of intrigue. Go check the book out. There is a link, of course, in the description below. We have the new t-shirt featuring Adriana by Bud Root, which is also a variant cover. It matches well. The Lilith t-shirt. Of course, we do have the original t-shirt back as well that you can get if you missed out. We've got the cover. Show you guys some preview pages. If you follow updates, I've sent preview pages out on updates and of different ones. not seen here. Also at Kor-Drath.com, if you sign up, you'll get emails from there with pages and stuff. Perk wise, we've got all the variant covers you can choose from. The main one by myself and Dan Lawless. The homage cover that I did everything on. Play a game. What cover is it homaging? Let us know. Cover C, of course, Bud Root and Dan Lawless are back. That cover matches up. You might almost want to say marries up perfectly with the first cover Bud did. As you can see, they go right next to each other. Makes a great collector set that you could hang on your wall. So check that out. The game module is back with art by Dan Lawless colors over Bud Root's fantastic art on the cover, just like the first one. They're back doing a second one. Dennis wrote a new game module, a whole new adventure, a whole new story, and we are close to the $50,000 stretch goal, which will get everybody the 5th playable character card, because there were 4 on the first campaign, which you can still get part of this campaign. These are 7 by 10, not little trading card size, but mini print size. So if you're not into a game, you've got the nice art on the front. And on the back, if you do role playing, Dennis came up with some fantastic statistics for Vordoom the Undying. So check that out as well. And give it a look. We think you will enjoy it. Many different things to look at. What's Demise and Drakamort all about, Dennis?
Well, it's a brand new story set in the Shattered Reach. This time we're going to be focusing in on a village. And generations ago, the village took out a dragon that was terrorizing it. They were very smart. However, some of the prodigies, some of the children of the dragon survived, and one of them has come back to take revenge for the killing of its mother. What will the village do?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's one way to find out. And like Dennis said, it's a different story, so you could buy it just to read it. You know, have a little prose action with just spot art throughout it. Stretch goals, like I said, the first one is the Vordoom playable character card. We're almost at 50,000. Some add-ons. We've got Kor-Drath the Awakening, the layouts. I'm scanning all my pencils in before I start doing any inking, so you can see the rough pencils before I start doing the inking, which would go great with the black and white edition of the book that we're also offering. We've got a manga size, all in black and white, of Kor-Drath the Reckoning, edited E for everyone. So if you read the first book and were like, I'd love my kid to read this, it's a great adventure fantasy story, but it's a little saucy. Well, this one we edited so it's not. We have a color digest that's a little bit bigger, that is also E for everyone. And we have a minifigure of Kor-Drath for role-playing, 2-inch, 3-inch, and 5-inch. They came out great. Chris Thacker painted one up. I don't know if Dennis has it close by, but if he doesn't, he can grab it because I'm going full screen to show off. Oh, I didn't know you had it that close. The collector's box. That's right, guys. We have created a Kor-Drath collector's box featuring the homage covers. We have a tier on the campaign called the Awakening tier where you can get everything that comes in with the Awakening, the game module, all the covers. Here it is right here. There, the Awakening. Oh, that's not it. I got to go above it. The Awakening box bundle comes with everything. The Adriana trading card that you only got by signing up. So, and it comes in a nice collector's box packaged inside a brown box because the collector's box is just what it says, a collector's box. And you can also add that box on by itself for $12. Let's see what Dennis is holding up. Oh, yeah. Look at that beautifully painted figure. Chris Thacker, search him out on Instagram or X. He paints these on the side. Really masterful. Nothing against the way I paint, but I would have grabbed the bottle called Flesh and been done with it. This is layered. Even the browns, the small pieces you can't see, he did a magical job. So go check that out. And of course, Kor-Drath, The Christmas Miracle. It is a children's book, 24 pages of story, 28 pages in full. And it tells the tale of Kor-Drath being a dummy, forgetting to get Adriana a present when they do their gift exchange. And he has to go on a little quest on Christmas Eve to find the perfect present for Adriana. Will he get back by midnight in time for Christmas? Find out in this heartwarming book made for early readers, or you can read it to your child yourself. Fantastic art that I'm doing in a more simplified style, harkening back to the children's books that I did for DC some years ago. Really fun stuff. But we're also doing an activity book that is going to be 36 pages, black and white, the whole 24-page story with text to color, and then connect the dots, word search, crossword puzzles, and things like that. But guys, we didn't forget about the adults. Some of us have said, oh, this would be so cool if you made like an adult version. What do you mean? Well, if you scroll down on the page, the cover now says mature version. On the left, you see Kor-Drath meeting up with a bear that he met on his way that was hungry, so he gave him some Christmas cookies. But on the right, for the adults, well, bye-bye bear. And some humorous text will be written above it. We don't want to spoil that, though. So it'll be a book that you could get all three for the low price of $37. Save $5 on that. Go check that out, guys. Link in the description below as well. And there you go. We hope you enjoyed this movie review. Like, subscribe, and share. We'll be back next Wednesday, 3 p.m. Dennis will be back, which means if you did watch this week's show where it was me and Jeff Grogan, Jeff even made fun of Dennis. So I know. Guy met you once. It was like he was like following my lead. It was fantastic. So we'll see you guys next time. Next week, guess what we're reviewing? What, Dennis? Could be the biggest movie of the summer.
I think it will be Deadpool Wolverine. We've had our tickets for weeks now, and yeah, cannot wait for that.
All right, guys. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Live long and prosper.
There it is.